What was that? You kind of, ladies and gentlemen, hello, welcome to HOTFIX. Say hello, Mr. Kirioff.
Hello,
Right,
hello,
okay.
hello.
So you may have just seen something over my face. I don't know what happened there, but that was that was my Adobe Media encoder, which, like you can see, a lot of
Oh,
videos are being encoded. What a treat! So HOTFIX is back. So I forgot how to do it. I haven't really, because I was born with the knowledge to do HOTFIX. So,
you were
so
born ready. Is that what you were?
you
Born
say,
ready.
oh God, you show
I've got a shameful secret in my hand.
what? What?
It's shameful. I require energy these days, son. I require energy, for I am lacking. So I've got Monster Energy, but I have a supplier, and it's my wife. And as such,
Have you been paid? Is this product placement or something? What's going on here?
it is
What
not. It's shameful placement. I've
is
been
that? The
told if I'm
sugar-free
gonna,
one, Mr. Kirioff?
it's sugar and calorie free.
No, Mr. Kirioff, what is this? That is
I
Monster
was let.
Ripper. Look at it. That's
I was
Monster Ripper. It's an
I
empty
want
can.
Monster
It's an
Ripper.
empty
I
can.
was left no choice. I was told
I've got
in no
tea.
uncertain terms, if I'm going to drink this, as it was phrased, shit again, because there was a
It's
point
time
where I
for a
was drinking like
divorce.
3 cans of it every day. If I'm going to start drinking this shit again, I'm not allowed to get fat off it anymore. So I've got to have the sugar and calorie-free version. So it is
That's
that
bad.
I have been forced into Monster Energy Absolutely Zero. And the Absolutely Zero should have worth written next to it there, but they couldn't fit it on.
Oh dear. So,
I
ladies
just
and
take
gentlemen,
it.
shut up, Mr. Kirioff. I'm trying to address the interweb. Glorious fan base. So you may notice that there has not been a hotfix for some time, and the channel's kind of, well, it hasn't really been in turmoil because that would be a bit of a strong word. It's been a bit different recently because hilariously we both got ill at the same time, which is kind of like if you
Yeah.
could put a bet on that, the odds would be pretty high because that's quite the coincidence. So yeah, whatever. So we've had a lot of problems, but the good news is we're both medicated up to the high heavens now, so it's all fine. And
Yep.
actually, I've got to go for an MRI scan tomorrow, which I'm not looking forward to because apparently it involves the injection of a bowel relaxant
Oh,
into the bowel.
that's not what you need, really, is it?
No,
Well, not on an everyday basis. Perhaps
no.
for that you
Well,
might need it, but for anything else, no. No,
so anyway, welcome to Hotfix, ladies and gentlemen. So we are going to talk about Elder Scrolls Online because, well, Mr. Kirioff, Elder Scrolls Online. You know what? Let's start this off, Mr. Kirioff. If you were sitting there as Bethesda, as
Yep.
ZeniMax, and you said, you know what, we're going to make a new game. We're going to make a new Elder Scrolls game, okay?
Yep.
We're going to make an MMO, right? Right? And you're
Yeah.
like, okay,
Yeah.
it's going to be great. This is what they're saying to each other. This is what we're going to do, right? We are essentially going to make an MMO that would have been viable about 5, 6, or 7 years ago, okay? With the Elder Scrolls look about it, in the Elder Scrolls world, and we are going to have a monthly sub. We are going to have microtransactions, and we are going to sell the game extremely expensively. Okay?
Yeah.
This is where we start, okay? If I said that to you or any normal person in 2014, bearing in mind they've probably played World of Warcraft, they've probably played Rift, they've probably played EverQuest, EverQuest 2. The list goes on and on and on. Would you say to me, Mr. Kirioff, with your awesome business acumen attuned mind, that is a good idea?
I would probably say that's a terrible idea. Personally, I'd take it all on board. I'd listen. I would do what is it, blue sky thinking, and I would come back and I'd say, that sounds absolutely stupid. Why would you do that? You cannot have all of those business models combined into one MMO because no bugger will play it because it's horribly expensive and unfair. But then, son, I don't work for them, and so obviously my business acumen means nothing because that's what they decided to do.
Well,
So
I think honestly,
clearly they know more than me.
I think what happened, right, at a very like kind of simple level. You look at Skyrim, okay. Well, in fact, you look at Oblivion. Oblivion did really well, okay. This was kind of the game which sort of, I'm going to say, launched the Xbox 360. It didn't come out at launch. I think the games were pretty crap at launch for the Xbox 360. I think there was some like really terrible. You know what? I think it was called Perfect Dark Zero, but I'm not sure. There was some really terrible FPS game for that. Anyway, when Oblivion came out, that's when I bought my 360, and I really enjoyed playing it on the. I played it on the 360. I mean, what the hell? I also played it on the PC, which it was better, but I was crazy. But it was a good game. Okay, that sold a lot. Skyrim comes along. Holy shit! Skyrim is like it's like pretty much permanently in the top 10 best sold frigging games on Steam, like all the time. It's done really well. It's made them copious amounts of green cash monies. Okay, but green like my t-shirt. Green cash monies are made. So you sit down as a board and you go, yeah, we're going to make a new game. Okay, what game, Mr. Kirioff? Because you're in the board. You're like one of these faceless business guys. What game do you think? Well, actually, what genre of games has made the most money, or even what game has made the most money in the last 10 years, Mr. Kirioff?
Well, I would say either, and bear in mind it's a close tie. It'd probably be either World of Warcraft or World of Tanks or League of Legends. Two out of those three are MMOs.
Well,
so
the first one, Mr. Kirioff, we're going to say it's World of Warcraft. Okay, well done, Mr. Kirioff, World of Warcraft. So, can we turn our massive best-selling franchise, Elder Scrolls, into an MMO and then have a load of money? So now you say yes, sir. We can.
Yeah. Apparently,
okay,
we can.
Let's do it. And I think honestly, I think that's what's happened.
Etc.
I'm pretty sure that's what went down. And it's like, well,
yeah. But the thing that's always puzzled me about this, right, is when they announced it, it was like, oh, hey, that could be quite good, and then it immediately went from that could be quite good to, I don't understand what this game is, because I know it's an MMO, like that's fine, but the whole thing of it costs money to play, so it's monthly sub. Got to buy the game to begin with, and there's microtransactions. That's like, you can't. There's no business model where that would work as a newly introduced thing. Now, I know you can say in World of Warcraft it works, but then World of Warcraft has been around for a long time. Like, it's an established thing. They've not moved to free to play because, frankly, they don't need to. The game is still popular enough that they can get away with selling box copies and a monthly sub. And they can get away with selling mounts.
It was staggered.
So
but that was not instantly. The problem with ESO, it's all straight away. I mean, we're going to go.
It's been
let's go into it right now.
Slowly.
The first thing, which is like this really, really fucking annoys me. So there's multiple versions of Elder Scrolls Online you can buy. There is a version called the Imperial Edition, which is like the Collector's Edition, or whatever you want to call it. This gives you access to the Imperials, which are a faction, in Elder Scrolls lore, a major faction. You don't get access to them unless you buy the Imperial Edition, which is like, what? You also get a horse, okay? Now, on the face of it, you think, well, okay, a mount, that's fine. Compared to World of Warcraft. Yeah, I remember we did Recruit a Friend. We got mounts for that. It's like, well, yeah, that's, blah, 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 and all the rest of that shit. The problem is, though, when you go into the game, right, now, Angry Joe's review is quite funny. It shows this off in quite a lot of detail. Not a lot of gold drops. In fact, almost every monster you kill drops 1 gold. It just drops 1 gold. If it's a boss, it'll drop 2 gold. I don't know what kind of system this is. Yeah, honestly, 1 or 2 gold. The cheapest horse is like 17,000 gold, right? And apparently, it might be 14 or 17. It's really expensive, like in the context of how fast you earn gold. It's not even that good though. Like, it's really shit. I think it's like 15% movement speed increase, which is terrible, right? For a better horse, it's like nearly 50,000 gold, okay? So how long is it going to take to actually get a horse? It's going to take fucking ages. Unless you go away, right, with your standard edition of the game, log into your account and upgrade it to the Imperial Edition and get your free horse, which probably costs around an extra, 20 quid to do so, yeah? But it's worth it, Mr. Kirioff, because you don't have to spend hours killing the mob, weeks killing the mobs, right? So the question is, why do the mobs drop so little gold? Well, it must be to delay you getting the horse.
But no,
what the hell is going on there? What?
That's one question. That I wouldn't say that's the most important question. The most important question.
It's not the most important.
Who the fuck would have the idea of restricting an entire race in an MMO to only people who have paid for it? Especially the Imperials. This isn't like some little.
It's like restricting the fucking orcs in WoW or something. No orcs.
Yeah, what the hell is that? I mean, it's okay. In World of Warcraft, it's like if you don't have certain expansions, you couldn't play certain classes. So, like in Wrath, if you didn't have Wrath, you couldn't have the Death Knight. But that's not quite the same, is it? That's an expansion on a game where all of the previous content is unlocked. By restricting an entire race off the bat, so you have to pay from the very start to access it.
Yeah.
That is just. Why would it? Oh my god!
There's just a catalogue. There is a catalogue of crazy decisions.
It's such a obvious money grubbing attempt.
the whole
It's
thing.
unbelievable.
Well,
It's like blatant.
you want
It's
to
not
talk
even
about money grabbing?
apologetic about it.
Let's
It's
talk
just,
about money
Jesus
grabbing.
Christ.
Right. So when you buy an MMO, generally you get 30 days for free. Right. This is pretty much standard practice. Yeah. You know, buy WoW, get 30 days for free. Blah blah blah. Great. So in ESO, you buy the game and you get 30 days free. Okay. So, you know, let's just use American cash money. So $60. You turn up, you spend $60, which is expensive. You buy the game, you get a free month, okay? But wait a minute, you can't actually get that free month just yet because you have to put in credit card details, yeah? Which is kind of normal, right? So if you wanted to, you know, that's fine, putting in credit card details. But the difference is, Mr. Kirioff, it then immediately charges you for the next month, okay? So you have the game, right? Honestly, you have the game, yeah? You've paid $60. You've got your free month, which you cannot access until you pay a further $15, whatever it is, to get the month after. Yeah. Then you get your free month, right? So, right, if you buy the game, Mr. Kiria, right, and you stop playing after a month, well, on their financial records, you've paid for another month. So we're doing quite well in month 2. Guys, but you're not even playing the game anymore. You've been forced to pay, and you're in a really bad situation because you've spent like $60 on the game. You want to play the game. You need to spend another $15. You're not going to say no. You're not going to go, oh no, fuck this. I don't want it. You've just bought the game. What is that? That is illegal. I don't know what. I'm going to say it's illegal. It's fucking bullshit. I can't. What?
It should at least. But I mean, if it says
it's not illegal, I don't think it's dodgy.
Yeah, but it is like,
really dodgy.
Isn't even the word. If it says you get a free month,
Shady.
but you have to pay to access that free month of game time, that's bollocks. That means that you what the hell? That's terrible.
We're not even getting into the game here. We're just talking about the bloody. What? You know,
the very entrance to the game is horribly flawed. You get a free month, but you have to pay for a month up front. You don't get to play as the Imperials unless you buy the Imperial race. You don't get a horse unless you buy the Imperial race because horses are so friggin' expensive. Just getting into the game seems to require you jumping through hurdles that are conveniently you've got to pay money to get rid of them. Like you've got to give them money to be able to play the game for your free month. You've got to give them money for the box. Then you've got to get money for the first month, even though you should have a free month, but the free month doesn't actually happen until you pay for the first month.
It's not really free. Like
if you buy the game and you want to play the Imperials, fuck you, go and buy the Imperial pack. If you want a horse in anything sooner than a month, so you don't have to grind 17,000 mobs for a gold each, then you got. Oh my god! And that's not. I mean, that's not even getting into the game design, is it? That's not. No, I mean, not getting into the environment the way it looks or anything like that. It's just
so,
like
my experience of ESO. I played multiple beta weekends, and then I just was like, I'm not buying this game. Okay, I had it down as the biggest failure of this year. This is just going to be a complete collapse, and it is, and I knew it would be. It's like I just knew it would be. There's no way I would buy the game. It was like, okay, I've seen enough. I've played enough MMOs in the past to know that what I've just played cannot be changed before launch because it's fundamental game issues, and these issues are, Mr. Kirioff, it's an old game. That's the only way to describe it. Graphically, it's not very impressive at all. I mean, the texture resolution all over the place was absolutely shite, like really bad. Some of the character models were okay, right? Like, so it's not like all bad, but, you know, let's compare it to WoW again. I think WoW looks better, way better. WoW's got a worse graphics engine, technically, but it looks way better because the world isn't just a brown piss stain, you know, with nothing, with just terrible textures. And like, it was really fucking boring. Like, it was just totally boring to play.
Yeah.
I just don't understand, Mr. Kirioff. I just really don't understand why. Nobody knows. It's crazy.
It's basically just it's looking at the success of other things, and no games company should really entertain this idea unless they've got something they can properly break through, like the sludge and crap of the chosen market. They've looked at other games that are popular and successful and thought, yeah, we could probably make one of those. But they don't investigate what makes them popular or successful. And you see it a lot. I mean, the number of MOBAs that are out at the moment is just staggering. But can you name any outside of like LoL and Dota 2 and Push Smite?
Exactly.
No.
Well,
the
Smite has
ones
got
that are there have
yeah.
locked it down.
Smite's a
It's
bit
like,
different though. Like at least Smite tried something different. It's like with all these
yeah,
MMOs
yeah,
coming out, that like you had WoW and then you've got the WoW clones. Yeah, you've got Rift, which probably was one of the best WoW clones. You've got a load of other games. You've got things like Warhammer Online. Where's that now? Oh, it's gone. It was terrible. You know, loads of other shit which have just it's totally gone. You've got like as you say with the MOBAs, like can you really? There's just too many. It's what they are
yeah.
doing is they are going back to what you just said. They are, I think they're analysing the situation in too much detail and then trying to replicate what has gone before. And then they're thinking in ESO's case, it's like, well, okay, WoW was a subscription-based MMO, yeah, we can do that, and they made a lot of money. But also look at these free-to-play MMOs; they're making a lot of money as well. So
Yeah.
what happens if we have both? Okay, this is looking pretty good. Skyrim, or the Elder Scrolls IP, did really well, as a game. Let's turn that into an MMO. We've got a lot of lore there. WoW's got a lot of lore, although it's shit lore, but it's got a lot of lore, blah, blah, blah. We're building up, like, they are hitting all of the targets sort of thing, but what they're producing is going out to a fan base, like a player base, which is like absolutely saturated to shit with that type of stuff for the last 10 years, and
Yeah.
they don't want that.
Yeah.
Why am I excited about EverQuest Next? Because it's fucking, you can blow the environments, you can destroy the environments. It's a simple thing, but it's new, right? You
At the
cannot
end of
do
the
that in
day,
any other MMOs.
Yeah, I think these days for an MMO to be successful, for it to make waves in that market, it's got to have a draw. It's got to have a catch. There's got to be something where you look at it and you go, "Oh shit, I've never seen that before.
Yeah,
I've got to
yeah.
try it." What they've tried to do with Elder Scrolls is they're relying on the fact that it's Elder Scrolls. That's the big hook. That's the big draw. But the thing is, if you take Elder Scrolls and just throw it into the mix with all the standard MMO trappings, then you haven't got Elder Scrolls. You've just got another MMO with a
Yeah.
familiar story. It's like another thing as well is okay. I love the Elder Scrolls games. I loved Oblivion. I played the hell out of Skyrim. Hell, even Morrowind. Occasionally, I have mad thoughts of going back and modding that to hell and playing it again. But let's be perfectly honest here. They're not the best games, right?
No.
They're incredibly engaging. You get sucked in, you play it for hours and hours and hours. But technically, in terms of combat, in terms of the way things are presented, hell, in terms of looks, I know people like to post Skyrim screenshots on Reddit going, "Oh, look at this! I put 113 graphics mods and it looks incredible." Yeah, take them off, and the game still doesn't look very good. Let's be blunt; it just doesn't look great. That to me, and also the hilarious bugs that you find in every Elder Scrolls game.
Yeah,
Like you go through a door and end up in the middle of a forest and stuff.
Well,
that it's like.
let me stop you there.
Why would you?
That's happening in the MMO. There's loads of quest
that's
bugs.
the
Like,
thing. It's
a lot of the game is bugged. Like again, go back and to use Angry Joe as an example. In his review, he shows multiple instances of quests just not being completable. Or like there was one where you go into a plane of oblivion, which obviously that's like traveling to hell kind of thing. It's the worst place. You don't want to go there. And the quest was going through the portal, pressing a button. That was it. And he was like, I was in the portal for like 40 seconds. That was the quest. What? I've been to Oblivion. What's going on? Like really shit like that. I mean, it's meant to have loads of issues with the storyline, the quest lines. They're just like really shit, really terrible.
But this is the thing. I mean, for me, someone who's played the Elder Scrolls games, I know full well, right? And as I say, I love the Elder Scrolls games, but they are buggy as hell. There's mad stuff that goes on. Skyrim, when I first played it, I got killed in the intro because I stepped on a skull, and the physics engine went mental, and the skull killed me. Right? That was a documented thing. If you trod on a skeleton, sometimes it would fucking murder you. Like just the scenery would kill you. I went out of some doors and ended up on the sides of mountains, and the door was just flowing behind me. It's funny in a single player game. In an MMO, that wrecks everything because you're not the only person there. Like in a single player game, you can go back and you can reload the save and hopefully the problem will fix itself, or you can restart. In an MMO, if a horrible bug turns up, every single person who comes across it is going to be shafted by it, and I mean that's not acceptable. The Elder Scrolls games are basically quite buggy when they're released. Why anyone would think it would be different for an online game, I don't know.
Well,
why
the thing
why
is,
they
though,
thought that they could make it better for an
but
MMO,
it's a different
I don't
studio
know.
though. It isn't the guys who made the single player, but like there are other issues as well. They've got this thing called the Megaserver, which sounds all fancy, right? Now, what this is, it's the same thing Guild Wars 2 have got, where everybody is kind of like on one server. It's kind of the best way to explain it. So you're not like, I guess using WoW for this isn't really the best example because I know that's got a lot of like cross-server stuff, even from when we played it, where you could do like dungeon
Like a
groups and
dungeon
stuff like that.
finder.
Yeah. So everybody's on one big server. That means that we don't have to play on a specific server. So if I'm on server unit and Kiri's on server lost, we could never play with each other in the past. But now we're all on the same server, so it's fine. Okay. So he's on my friends list, and I like add him to my group. Okay. I can see where he is on the map, and he'll be saying like, "Oh, coming out me out, Sty, I'm doing a quest." I go towards him, okay, on the map, but he's not there. It's like, well, what's going on? There's the arrow saying that's where he is. He's not there because he's not in that instance of the world. So you go to your friends list and you teleport to the instance where he is. Instead of the game swapping you over and putting you in the same place you were just, it puts you into his world, but by like a waypoint, which could be.
Then you've got to make the journey.
Then you've got to
all
run
over
back.
again.
Yeah. Now you could say, well, you could just do this preemptively, but people are going to make this mistake. They're going to run to the thing and like, where's my friend? Oh shit! Oh god! Now I'm back over here. That's like
Especially
really
if
piss
they're
poor
already on
design.
the map.
Yeah.
Because that's that.
So,
I mean, if you weren't on the map, that would actually be better because then you'd be able to go, well, hang on, you say you're here, you're not on the map. And then you'd immediately go, oh, well, okay, we must be on a different instance. And then you could change. That's not even a new problem. I mean,
no, it's like old shit that people have fixed this years ago.
Online,
yeah.
There was instances, and we knew to start. Whenever we started playing that game together, it was like, okay, should we go and do some questing? Yeah, okay. What instance are you on? That was all we needed to do. By actually making it so that you can see people on the map, they've taken a step backwards because they've made people think that it's something that it's not. Where it's like, yeah, you're on one server, but you can't see each other unless you're in the same instance. So if you just say, you need to be in the same instance, so check. It's like it's making it more complicated than it actually is. It's making it seem better than it is as well, because that's a bit disingenuous. Saying that it's one big server and everyone's on it, yeah, they might be, and you might be able to see your mate on the map. But if you go to where your mate is and you're not there, well, everything you've said about the fact everyone's on the same server is kind of irrelevant. Let's be honest. The draw is you can just run over to your mate.
I just showed off my Warhammer Online box because why not? Just show how much a fool I am because I've got like a little.
I've still got mine.
Yeah, I know. I bought it for you. Fuck, what was I thinking? I remember I went into the shop and it was in Game Station. And I went, hello, can I have 2 copies? And he went, you want 2? I said, yeah. And it cost me like 70 quid. I mean, what the hell?
In fairness,
nice
it had its problems. It was a good game. Bits of it were really good. It just had its issues. I liked it. I shall not have a word. Well, no, we'll have a word said against it. But it was still pretty good.
It was broken.
The bits that worked.
It was better than ESO.
So yeah.
Also, right, okay. So I went onto Reddit and I'm like, well, there must be people having loads of problems with ESO. Let's see what's going on. And this was quite a bit of a bombshell because I didn't realise this was the case. So this is a quote, from a guy on Reddit, and he says this: "Last night was horrible. We had like 200 to 300 milliseconds of lag in normal zones, and in the largest Cyrodiil zones, they were totally unplayable with 2 to 3 seconds for skills to work in larger fights. Freeze lag from the server and desync, etc., etc." Okay, so I'm like, okay, server instability. But then, Mr. Kirioff, here's the bombshell. Actually, the EU servers are based in the US.
Oh, fuck off.
Now,
no, I'm not having that, right? This has happened, I can't remember what game it was, but this has happened before. It's probably happened in quite a few games before. If it's an EU server, you put it in the
And
EU.
why is that, Mr. Kirioff?
Oh my god. It's simple. If you know anything about networks, you know where to put the goddamn server. For Christ's sake, you don't put EU stuff in the US, because funnily enough, bloke, it is literally half the fucking world away. I mean, it is on the other side of the globe.
It's so bad.
Oh my god.
It's so bad.
I mean, that's just textbook stuff, isn't it?
You know why it is?
That
you know
is
why
perfectly simple stuff.
You know why it is? Because it's saving money, bloke. That's why. Because I bet you now that all of their servers are in the same data center wherever they are, and they're just in the same block. And it's like, we are not opening. Look at Sony. They kind of did this with PlanetSide, yeah. But they, what they've done is they farmed it out to a German company, ProSieben, I think they're called, or something, and they do the EU servers in their German data centers, I think, or they might be in the Dutch data centers. But at least they farmed it out. You know, what are ZeniMax doing? They're just like, let's keep everything together. It's terrible, right? You cannot, like, okay, MMOs are probably one of the, you know, the most forgiving games you could probably play, like on an American server, because let's be honest, they're not that reaction based, are they? Now, you could say, actually, in the case of ESO, it kind of is, because one of the best things it's got going for it is its combat system is pretty dynamic. It doesn't rely on like mana or resources. It just kind of relies on stamina. Like, so you have to manage your stamina bar. But your skills are they just come off a timer, and you can use them again and again and again, sort of thing. You can dodge out of the way of enemy attacks and roll and stuff like that. You know, do heavy, medium attacks and things like that. So it is pretty complex. So you could actually say having 300 milliseconds of lag is going to be a bit of a problem there, because you're going to try and dodge an arrow that's already in your chest, and that's bad. You know, that's obviously making like if it was an FPS game, for example, you could not play it with 300 milliseconds of lag. What the hell?
There's a reason that whenever someone decides to play an FPS game, if they filter by server, they do not go for the one with the highest ping. They go for the one with the lowest ping, because otherwise it's completely unplayable. It's the same with like League of Legends. You know, if you end up with a laggy game because the EU server is collapsing once again, then you can end up making horrendous mistakes and die because their server is crap, which is not acceptable. I mean, okay, with League of Legends, it's kind of maybe a little bit different for some people, because they might argue, oh, well, I'm only playing it for free, but that's a different argument. But with like, if you paid 60 quid for the box, 15 quid for your free month, by the way, and then you've had to drop another 20 quid because you want to be a Imperial, and then you go into the game and you've got 300 milliseconds of lag, and then when you try and do some PvP or something, you've got 3 seconds before your abilities go off. That's just A-grade bullshit and not acceptable. You're not handing them like nearly 100 quid for them to have their EU servers in the US. That's like, just no, don't do that. That's horrendous. That is just a terrible attitude, because that is diminishing the experience of the game because they're too tight to get.
It's like a weird one. I mean, the game is fully voiced. Okay, so all of the NPCs speak, which was kind of funny in some of the earlier betas that I took part in, because they didn't have the voices done yet. So they just had like the Microsoft voice simulator thing, like the hello and welcome to the quest area. But it's all voice, so that costs a lot of money, and I think that really does work well. MMOs with a lot of voice work in pretty good, because nobody really likes reading text today. It's like that gets boring. If somebody's talking to you, that's good. And basically the combat system, which is I would say a bit of a it is not that bad. Okay. But that's kind of like the only positives, I can think of. Everything else is sort of just crap. I think, like, it comes down to this, Mr. Kirioff, and this is the topic of the hotfix. It's like, why did ESO fail so hard? Like, why? In my opinion, it was always going to fail. Like I said at the start of this, I thought it was going to be a fucking massive failure at the start of in this year. I know it's taken years to develop and all the rest of this stuff. I feel sorry for people who, for some reason, want to play the game. I know a couple of YouTube channels who play the game, and I don't know why. I'm like, why are you playing this? Why? It is terrible. You can see it's terrible, so why are you bothering with this game?
It's one of the...
Well, actually, hang on. I call it terrible. That might be a little bit harsh. I don't think it's terrible. Like, if this was 5 or 6 years ago, it'd probably be decent, yeah? And it kind of is decent at the moment, but the problem is, it's like everybody has already experienced a much better experience, basically. So why would you want to go ahead and play this unless you are some sort of mental Elder Scrolls fan who needs to play everything Elder Scrolls? Yeah. I don't know.
See, for me,
it's weird.
For me, I'd say actually the game itself isn't what's failed. I think it's the way it's been handled, the way it's been produced, and the way it's been monetized is what's made it fail. Because the game itself, I mean, you can tweak most games. If they're, if they turn out to be gash on release, you can tweak them, you can improve them, you can make them fun, you can make them playable, you can fix the bugs, you can sort out any issues. But there are like fundamental issues with the way that ESO's been promoted and the way it's been monetized. Like having to buy the box, which is, I mean, okay, that's fine. I didn't complain when I had to buy Guild Wars 2. Didn't complain when I had to buy Warhammer.
Guild Wars 2 has no sub.
But it has no sub.
Yeah.
And I don't have a problem with microtransactions, provided they don't affect the balance of the game. But doing all three, yeah, World of Warcraft have done that. But they've done that slowly. They've introduced it slowly. They've moved with the times in the way that they've done it. And they've done it in a way that doesn't necessarily, most of the time, affect the balance of the game. Now, I know there's all kinds of things with the new expansion about getting a new level 19 stuff, but that's kind of different. This is a very, by this point, World of Warcraft, let's be honest, it's a bloody old game. It's really old, and it's still going. And there's so much content that it's difficult for a new person to get into it if they want to start from scratch. And so people don't want to. They've got their own different set of issues. But for a brand new game like ESO, I can't find an excuse for it costing straight away, costing for a subscription. I just cannot understand what they were thinking with restricting an entire race behind a paywall.
You know
That
what?
is just
Actually,
absolutely
I've
stupid.
just looked at my notes, and I think we've missed a thing. Which this is kind of a really big major issue. There's been a duping bug in the game. So this, like a duping bug, just means you can essentially make items for free. You know, you can get an item and duplicate it,
Yeah.
duplicate, dupe bug. Okay. Um, this was apparently identified in early beta tests, and people were like, "This is a bug," and it was not fixed. So they knew it was there, unless they didn't read their bug reports. But they must do. Somebody must have read that. Okay, they haven't fixed it. So what's happened is. And they're taking action against this now, but it's shitty action. They're not doing enough to fix it. Like it's because the damage is kind of already there. Okay, billions and billions and billions of gold have like flooded the economy. Okay, people are running around in like
God.
armor sets. Like I think they call them legendary armor sets and legendary weapons and stuff that they should not have at all. Until a few months down the line of intense farming or whatever the hell they're they're going to do to get it. But because the economy's broke now, like totally broke, like what do? Like if you're playing that game now, gold is worth nothing. So most people have duped the shit out of it. Basically, a lot of people have abused it. They've been banning people who've been abusing it, which I'm not too sure you should do that really, because like if it's a problem you knew about and like it's a problem with the game, players will find the easiest way to complete the goals naturally. They will not
Yeah.
go, oh, well, you know what? If I click on this item 5 times, I can get 1,000,000 gold, or I'll spend the next 3 months killing skeletons to get 1,000,000 gold. You know what you're going to do? You're going to click the button. Loads of people have done this. Now, the economy's absolutely
Yeah.
wrecked. What do? The only option is you roll back. But I don't think they've done that. And now it's happened for like quite a few days now. What do you do? Like, that has broke the economy of the game. And like,
Yeah, and banning people who've done it doesn't fix
no,
the issue.
no, because it just
But-
gives it
but
more,
then-
I guess, exposure. I mean, we're talking about it now.
Yeah.
I mean, also, like, oh god, it's just that kind of shows, like, you when you were saying about WoW, it's an older MMO. They're more experienced with running it. ESO and ZeniMax Online, they have no MMOs. This is their first one. That shows a lot of inexperience to not deal with an issue like that fast.
Yeah.
Especially if you had the chance to deal with this before the game even launched and you didn't. That's just like negligence on a level I've never even seen before, especially considering ESO probably cost a shitload to make, because MMOs are the most expensive
especially
games to make.
Especially with fully voiced as well. I mean, Jesus Christ.
Well,
that
yeah,
alone must add. I mean, it really does. To me, it smacks of the game itself is not the failure. It's the people handling it that have completely screwed up. Because there are some games where the very concept of it is flawed, and so
Yeah.
it doesn't work. There are some games where, although it's a decent concept for a game, the people who made it don't have the experience, they don't have the technical expertise, they just don't have what it takes to make it work. It feels like a combination of ZeniMax Online don't have what it takes to make an MMO work, at least not in the Elder Scrolls universe. It feels like they rely on the fact that it's the Elder Scrolls universe to sell the game,
Yeah.
without putting enough effort into the very basics. You've got to put the effort into how it's going to be monetized. They've screwed up. You've got to put effort into how the microtransactions work. If you count the Imperial Edition as a microtransaction, for instance,
Mr. Kirioff,
they've
I am
already screwed
showing
up.
you Star Wars: The Old Republic box, which I think I also bought you as well. I don't know what it is. Did I buy you this? Did I? Yeah, I did.
No, I bought
Did you buy it
Yeah, you
yourself?
did actually.
I don't fucking
No, I
know.
didn't buy it
I'm a
myself.
crazy sucker for this shit. Anyway, this, right, it reminds me of this bloke, because this now apparently is a pretty good game. Okay, when we played it, yeah, it was shit.
Yeah.
But now it's actually pretty good. And it's like, why did I buy that? Because it's Star Wars. Now, like,
Yeah.
hilariously, we kind of work for Disney and they own Star Wars, so they own us.
But we don't
But
want to
anyway,
talk about that.
No, we can't talk about Mickey Mouse. So, yeah, like, it's the same sort of deal. It's like we've got this really good IP. We're going to turn it into an MMO. It's going to sell well, which I've no doubt ESO, it probably has sold well. It's not going to retain people. It's just not going to.
No.
But on their financial reports, it'll say, well, yeah, people have gone for 2 months here. Woo.
But here's
Because
the
of their
thing,
bullshit.
Do they intend?
Are they going to fix it?
Is
When will it go free
is
to
it
play?
gonna end
It
up
has
being
to go free to play. It has to.
Yeah,
We're
no one's
never
gonna-
going to play it. We are never going to buy that game. But if you say it's
There's
free
so
to play,
much
I
bad
might download
press.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's so much bad press now, and it's
Oh, man.
collapsed so badly that I don't understand why anyone would willingly go out and pay money. But the thing is, it's like, I don't know. The idea of an Elder Scrolls MMO, I really like the idea, but the implementation that they've done with it is just
give us
absolutely
co-op
terrible.
Skyrim. Just give us co-op Skyrim or something.
Yeah,
That'd be
yeah,
amazing.
that
It would be. If the next
that
one
would
comes
do
out,
me.
me and you can just play it co-op. That'd be so funny. That would be so funny.
It would.
It would. It
But
would.
it's like it just feels like they didn't know what the hell they're doing.
No.
Like they've let some idiot make the decisions.
They've let the money men make the decisions.
Yeah.
You know, they've just. That's all that's happened. That's all that's
It's
happened.
almost like they've had moments of clarity where people who actually want to design a game have had input, and that's why it's fully voiced. They've had people who want a unique combat system, and that's why the combat is the way it is. But then it's like other people have come in and taken over. It's like, oh yeah, there's a duping bug. Yeah, screw it. We haven't got time to fix that. It'll cost money. You know, it's stuff like crashes and bugs. Oh well, deal with that if it gets too bad. But for the moment, just ignore it. It's almost like it's in conflict. Like there are people who want to make Elder Scrolls Online a decent game, and there are people who want to make Elder Scrolls Online so it can make them a big fat check, so they can sit on their arse and laugh about it. And one of them is going to win. And
well,
unless it's the people who actually are responsible for designing and making a good game.
I think it's.
I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, I guess, guys, are you playing Elder Scrolls Online? If you want to defend Elder Scrolls Online, comment below as ever. Like we always say, we always read the comments with HOTFIX more so than our other videos because it is interesting to see what's going on. I'm not playing ESO. I've got no intention of playing ESO. In fact, as far as MMOs go, I will be trying out WildStar over the weekend, and I'll probably stream that because why not? Now, I've got personal problems with NC Soft, but I think I need to be a little bit bigger than that and kind of give it a little bit of a go and see what's going on with that because I've heard some decent things with it. But yeah, so completely off my radar. I don't even care. I thought it would be a collapse, and it is a collapse. Everything that was coming out prior to launch, what I'd played in the betas, all of that stuff just was shit. Now it's launched. Everybody's had loads of problems. It's like I'm sitting there like, I told you so. You've wasted all your money.
Yeah.
You know, what can I say? You know, ZeniMax is sitting there. They've probably made fucking hundreds of millions off box sales. Now they're just like, they've got a dead game. Have they made enough back to cover the development? I hope they haven't, because I don't want them to do it again. It's just terrible. Any last words, Mr. Kirioff?
They've absolutely screwed up.
Yeah,
and it's a shame because Elder Scrolls is a fantastic universe. The games generally are just, they suck you in, and you just keep playing them. But Elder Scrolls Online, it's just failed. It's failed on every front, and it's a shame because I don't think it's fair on the franchise. It sounds weird to say that, but some franchises are worth protecting, and I think Elder Scrolls is one of them. And I think they've failed with it really badly.
It's like I'm bloody. I come up with loads of examples of this. Like I guess game
Warhammer
sequels.
40k at the moment.
Yes, very good example.
That's
exactly.
a franchise that needs to be protected in terms of computer games, and it's being royally shafted. I don't want to see Elder Scrolls go that way. So for God's sake,
we've got the bloody the Warhammer MMO coming out. Oh god, we'll be making a hotfix on that. Why it was so bad. Well, let's be fair. That looks like Space Marine, but like an MMO, so it could be fancy. I don't know. Anyway, guys, we're gonna leave it at that. It could be, but it won't. We're gonna leave it at that. This has been HOTFIX. I'm Mr. Losa. He's Kirioff. You can follow me on at Twitter. No, at Unit Lost Gaming on Twitter, and Mr. Kirioff is at Kirioff. And obviously subscribe to the channel if this is the first video you've seen, because it's probably absolutely magnificent. Yeah, we'll catch you next time, Mr. Kirioff. Toodaloo.